Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, we are live. Okay, this is
Live.
Francisco Bernal, and we are Group 5 from CIT 261. And we are right now 3 people in our team, and I'm gonna let every one of them introduce. So if everyone can introduce themselves, please, just your name and something about you before diving into the topics.
Okay. I'm Natalie Powell. I'm from Colonia Juarez in Chihuahua, Mexico. And what's interesting? um, this is only my third CIT class. I'm a web design and development major, and I've never done Java before. So this is pretty new and kind of scary, but hopefully this helps.
Okay. Marvin?
Okay, well, my name is Marvin Enamorado. My last name is interesting. And I am from Honduras. And this is a class, a very interesting class. And I have learned a little bit about JavaScript before, PHP, databases, and HTML and CSS.
Hi, this is Francisco Bernal, and I'm from Mexico City, but right now I'm living in the Bay Area in Pleasanton, California. It's like 1 hour from San Francisco. I work in San Francisco, and I like coding. And this is my second semester with web development. This is my second semester with JavaScript, and I'm excited to taking this class. I want to learn more about mobile development, and I'm looking forward to work with you guys. Okay, so let's move to the topics. But well, before moving to the topics, we have this plan starting from week 1, but right now we are in week 3. We are here. So I will try to catch up with the topics for week 1, week 2, and some of the topics for week 3. So the one that is teaching the next week can catch up with the topics that we don't cover today. I hope you are okay with that. Okay, so JavaScript. Okay, just to clarify, JavaScript, it's a completely different language from Java. uh, Java is more for, yeah, both can be used in web development, but they are completely different. So it's Java. With JavaScript, we can have scripts that we can run on the client side, and these scripts can work with HTML and CS3, and we can read a little bit more about this. But okay, the first topic that we need to cover, okay, it's loops and conditional statements. So I'm gonna base this class using this website, the w3school.com. I have found that these tutorials are uh, pretty pretty useful, and I like them because they are very concise. The topics that I'm interested, so they could all the clutter. And for example, let's jump to loops, since that is our first topic. So if we already know something about variables, something about data types, something about all these topics, we can jump directly to the one that we are interested in, and the we can read about this topic, but also we can practice that topic here, and we can change the code and run the example, and it's kind of interactive. So what is a loop? Loop, well, there are different ways that we can traverse a loop in different language. in JavaScript we can use for in, while, and do while, and any of these will suit a specific task that we are trying to do. For example, the for loop. This is how we can do for loop. We have three parts. Hey, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. We have three parts. We have the first, that is the initialization. The second, that is the condition, and the third one, that is the increment. So if we have something that we want to do like several times, we can initialize, for example, with 0. As long as this variable is less than 5, and we increment 1 at a time, we can repeat this set of instructions those five times. So let's see how it works. So if we run here, we see that this statement is printed 5 times. So let's change this variable. We run the example, and we see that it's printing 10 times. So we can change the initialization. For example, we can start with 1. In this case, we want to print nine times. So we can play with these statements with the initialization and with the condition. For example, we can change to I less than or equal to 10. And because 10 is with 10, the condition is still valid. It's printed. So that's the idea for the for loop. Did you get it, guys? Do you have any question?
No, not so far.
Okay. So this is the for loop. Have you ever tried the for loop in another class?
I did a for loop. What class was it for? It was CIT 160, I think. But it was just like writing. It was just writing HTML.
Okay. Another variation of the for loop is the for in loop. In another languages, we can find some similar for in loop, but in other languages they call it like for each. And the idea is that we have a collection, and for each element in this collection, we execute this set of instructions. In this case, the collection is persons, and we have person, and we have first name, last name, and age. And X is the key of that collection, and we print this. We are this is a string, and we are appending the value of every key. So the keys are first name, last name, and age, and the values are John, Do, and 25. So at the end we have this string. If we add another key, let's see gender. Okay. So this is the collection, and because this is kind of a dictionary, we have the value, and we have we have the key, and we have the value. For every key, we have a specific value. With these collections, every key should be unique, but the values could be repeated. For example, let's add another key. middle name. Mhm. And let's repeat John. See, we're getting John. But what happens if we have the same key? Mm, no. What do you think is going to happen?
Neither of them will show up.
Marvin, what is your guess?
Um, okay, let me see. It says, what is the keyword right there? And the last one, what does it say?
Middle
Yeah,
name.
that one, middle
Mm-hmm.
name, and then it
Mm-hmm.
says none.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay, let me run it.
I don't know.
It's override. So
Override it.
because yeah, exactly, override because we are duplicating a key. We only can have one key. So we are getting the last one. This one is
Okay.
overriding the other one. So John, the first John is so you see that you can have duplicated values. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Now let me differentiate. Okay. Now you get John and this uh, hyphen. But now if we duplicate the key is middle name, and we add another value. This one, the second one, is overriding the first
Yeah.
one. Okay,
Okay.
so this is the same as having this. Mhm.
Right.
Okay, and this is one of the other topics that we need to cover. Is yeah, this one for the next week, associative arrays. Mhm.
Right.
Okay. Uh, Also for the first week, I don't know why they repeated. Yeah, in the first week we have associative arrays.
Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay, so let's try to understand a little bit more this code. So we have variables. What is a variable? Do you have an idea what is a variable?
There's something that can contain a value.
Yeah, it's something that can contain value, can contain data, could be a string, could be an integer, could be a boolean, and there is these kind of data types. So if we go here to our website, we can see what kind of mm, data types you can have in JavaScript. Okay, so we can have any kind of numbers, negative numbers, decimals. Uh, uh, I don't know if we can have imaginary numbers, but I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, booleans, and that are the primitive data types. Uh, Also, we can have arrays, and arrays it's kind of collections. So when we have different objects and we want to put these objects in the same basket, we
Mm-hmm.
use an array. This is collection. Okay, and these arrays are the simplest one. The simplest one. These array are indexed arrays. Do you know what does that mean?
What does the indexed part mean?
Array. Uh-huh. Uh, the index. Well, the index is one number that refer to the position, and all arrays start with
Yeah.
0. Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
So the length of this array is 3 because we have 3 elements. We have SAF, we have Volvo, and we have BMW. Okay, but the index start with 0. So SAF is the index for SAF is 0. The index for Volvo is 1, and for BMW is 2. If
Three.
we add another uh,
What? You went away.
Okay. Hope he will be back in a moment.
I'll try messaging him and saying that he stopped sharing with us. Oh,
Okay, he's back.
Francisco!
Can you hear
Come
me?
There you are, Francisco. Welcome
Okay.
back.
Okay. Um, okay, let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
There's Natalie.
okay. So I was asking, what do you think? What is the array, index for this last element?
um, it would be 3, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3. That's right. So we can display, for example, the element 0 of this array, as you can see, is sub. But if we change this to 3, we get Volkswagen. Okay. So what happened if we want to display the element with index 4? I click run before. Okay. Okay. So we don't have element with index 4. Because we have 4 elements. There is no element with index 4. 1 second. Okay, that's the reason is undefined. Okay,
Okay.
and
So,
um,
sorry, I'm like gonna stop really quick. But, so what's the difference between writing it in JavaScript and writing it for HTML? Because, like, right now, on the left side, it's determined as a doc type HTML. Do you
okay,
write
okay.
it like that when you do JavaScript too?
Well, there are 2 ways that you can include JavaScript in your website. The first thing, it's let me go back to the tutorial, and let's start with the first example. Try yourself. Okay, this is the hello world for HTML5. So there are several types of tags in HTML, but basic website you need to have at least these tags. Uh-huh. And there is one special tag that you can have that is a script. As you can see, we have the HTML, we have the body, and this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag. Yeah. Body, we have opening tag, and we have closing tag. And this is a paragraph. Okay. Opening tag and closing tag. Okay. And a script, opening tag and closing tag. So inside this script tag, you can add JavaScript. This that I have highlighted is JavaScript. The things that I have outside is HTML. Okay, so you can have JavaScript in HTML in 2 ways: using the tag script like this, or using it in this way. Let me open. Um, 1 second.
Sometimes if you look it up in your, it doesn't for some reason come up in mine either until I go to applications.
Oh no, what is okay, here, this is an editor that I like to use. Okay, so these are the tags, as you can see. We have the head tag, and inside the head tag, we can include another tags, like the title of the website, metadata, and links, okay?
Mhm.
And this is the body, but this is not the example that I want to show. Mm, 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 okay. Mm, okay. Mm, index. Oh, this one. Okay, so you can see here we have the script tag, but
Mhm.
it is used in a different way. We don't have any instructions. This is the content of the script, of the tag, and
Mhm.
these are the attributes of every tag. So as you can see, for example, this link, we have these attributes.
Mhm.
The same for this script tag. So what I'm doing here is I'm telling this HTML file that you're gonna use this Java script file that is in this place. So all the things that I wanna do in my web page that belong to JavaScript will be written in this file, and I can use it. It's kind of separations of concerns. You put all the JavaScript in one file. So now let's open the JavaScript file.
So it is kind of like what you do with the CSS file, right? Because
Exactly,
you can have
exactly.
this script, or you can have the CSS script on the same HTML, but one of the best practices is like having
A
the file
separate one.
separated.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the same. So in in this example, you can see that I'm linking this HTML file to a CSS file, and I have all my style in this file, but also I have all my JavaScript in a separate file. So, and the JavaScript file is this one. All that you can see here is pure JavaScript. So I want to use if I want to use something interactive, like when I press some button and start downloading something, I can use JavaScript and write the code for JavaScript in a separate file, and I only use the HTML file to write the layout of my web page, and then I use the CSS file to beautify my web page. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the
Sorry.
example, yeah, it's okay. It was a good question. So these examples, and I guess because they only have we well, you can add a JavaScript in the last announcement uh, or instructed, sir, send this link to this website, and in here you can write the HTML part of your whatever you want to test in here, and you can also type the CSS code here and the JavaScript code here, and then you run the example and you get what you want display in this area, and you can do it that way. Uh, but I for this kind of examples, I like it in this way,
Mhm.
using the script. Usually, you don't include the script file in your website. You just as Marmin mentioned, it's a good practice.
Oh no, he left again.
You left again.
Mhm.
Okay, there he is back. Yes, there he is.
I'm back.
Yay!
There you are.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Could you see my screen now?
We see you.
Not yet.
Now?
No. Oh, here it comes.
Now?
There it is.
Okay, so that's arrays and associative arrays. Okay, did you get it? What is an array and what is an associative array?
Yeah.
So for
Yes.
arrays, the index are numbers. Okay, let me close this. Okay, for arrays, the index are numbers starting with 0. And for associative arrays, we have keys and values.
Okay.
And we can have any kind of data. And for these associative arrays, the keys should be unique. Okay, and these are variables. Okay, and when we have collections, we can use loops to traverse these collections. So we just covered the first one, 4. Now let's jump to another one, while loop. The while loop, it's different. We have a condition, and as long as this condition is true, we can keep looping and executing the instructions inside this loop. For example, we start with this variable equal to 0, and as long as I is less than 10, we keep printing this, and at the end we increment the variable. If we don't increment this, we're gonna keep printing the number is 0, and this will be true forever, and at some point your browser is gonna crash. Okay, so let's keep it this. Okay, it's we run, so we have this. Now let's change the increment. How many times do you think this string is gonna be printed with this condition? How many times?
Is that a plus sign? Oh, okay. So it is I plus 1. It's just 1.
Just one?
Yes. It'll do the same thing like I plus plus.
Exactly, it's the same thing. So how many times this line text the number is
Okay.
how many times is gonna be printed?
10 times.
10 times. Okay. So what about if we change increment to this?
So it'll be printed 5 times.
5 times, exactly. So did you get it, Natalie?
Yeah.
Okay. So another way to write this is this. This is another
It's more
operator.
simple. Right.
Okay, so let's run it. Yep, see? Okay, we can change it to this. Okay. Okay. Yep. So that's the while loop. I like this loop because you can use it
Oh, he's cutting out again.
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
What is
okay.
going on with my connection? Okay, so I was telling you guys that I like this. I think this is one of my favorites. For example, this one, uh, you can write it in another way. So mm, okay, okay. This is another way to write this same instructions. So this while will be always true, and I have moved the condition inside the while. So in some cases, depending of where are you using these loops, you can do something like this, and you can move the condition inside. And how do you exit this loop? With this break statement. Okay. So what we are doing is, okay, we have this, and we increment, we display the string, and then we increment the variable, and then we evaluate the condition. And if the condition is met, then we break the loop. Okay. did
Okay.
did you get it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And there
So
is
what should
another.
it is?
Yeah,
Oh no, no. I was just gonna say that is an if condition nested on the while condition, right?
exactly, exactly. So maybe in some cases where you have a loop and there are several conditions that can break your loop, you can have this kind of approach, or you can put both conditions in the statement for the while loop. Mhm.
Okay.
But you will see every case is different. And another loop that is kind of similar to the one that I did is this one, do while. The idea of this is that first you execute the code, and then you evaluate the condition. And if the condition is already met, then you break the statement. So let's edit this, the one that we have. Okay, so no city. Okay. The condition. Okay. So first we print this, we increment the variable, we evaluate the condition, and if it's still true, we repeat what we have in between the curly braces. Okay.
So this
So
one, so this
uh
one, you give it a condition, and then the while comes after. Then.
exactly. First, you execute the code. So we start with I equal to 0. Then we print the number is 0. We increment the variable. The first time, this is equal to 3. Then we evaluate the condition. Is true. That means that you need to execute
Okay.
the again exactly. Now this 3. Now we increment the variable is 6. So now let's do this. Let's. What is the value you think the this variable will have after exiting this loop?
Hmm.
What is the value that you think? Marvin, any idea?
What is the value of
Um,
text
yeah, no.
after
I.
executing? Of
What is
I.
the value
Okay,
of
that'll
I?
be 9.
9.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Okay, so it'll do this plus 3 while I. Okay. Mm.
So we start with
I
0.
think it's
We
name.
print
Mhm.
the number is 0. We increment. Now I is equal to 3. The condition is true. We print again. The number is 3. Increment I is equal to 6. Condition is true. We display the number is 6. We increment
Right.
the variable. Now I is equal to 9. Condition is still
Right.
true because 9 is less than 10. We display the number is 10. We increment I. uh, Now I is equal to 12, and the
Right.
condition is false.
Mhm.
In this time the condition is false. Then when at this point in this line, the value
Mhm.
of I is
Okay.
12.
Will be 12. Right.
Exactly.
Because it still ran, but the while is to do it again,
Uh-huh,
not
exactly. Let's run this. Yep, you see. Okay, so inside the loop, let's the number is okay.
Yeah, inside a little bit, it will
Mm,
be 9.
okay, let me add this. Okay, so this is inside the loop, and at this point, when I is 9 and we add 3, I is equal to 12, then this condition is false, and we don't execute these instructions one more time. So we are out of the loop. Okay, we are done. Are you there?
Yep.
Okay, so we are done with the loop.
Okay.
And outside the loop, we print the value, and now the value is 12.
It's 12.
So when you are playing with loops, just take care of your variables. And when you exit the loop, just be careful with the value of these variables. Okay. So now let's do this. So now, what do you think is the value at this point of I?
9.
9, exactly. Yep. Okay, because we have this operation and we have 9. Okay, that's loops. Uh, so what I recommend you guys, it's just visit this website because it's pretty simple. The things that we can learn if we are just trying to learn one topic, uh, just come to this website. And as I mentioned before, it's pretty concise, because if you want to learn about while loops or do while, you can come and just read about that instead of uh, trying to find more information and adding more and more topics. Okay,
Mhm.
so I used the break statement before, and I explained a little bit what this statement does. But the idea is, if we have a condition, we can break the loop. So okay, let's try this one. Mm, mm, okay, I just commented out this line. So if we run this, it's the same basic example that we tried before. Is we start with 0, and as long as the variable is less than 10, we keep printing this text. But if we add this line, okay, if I is equal to 3, then break. Don't break the machine, don't break the browser, but break the loop. And that means, okay, break this loop and continue in the next line just after the loop. Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, so when I is equal to 3, we stop doing the rest. We don't print this. Mhm. And we stop incrementing I, and continuing with the traversing. Okay, did you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, now let's jump to functions. Um, okay, functions. Okay, functions are a way to encapsulate some set of instructions that I want to repeat. It's kind of a process. So I want these instructions to be executed in different sections of my file, in different sections of my program. And if I don't want to write these lines every time, what I can do is create a function and call this function every time I need this process to happen. So for example, this function is taking two parameters, p1 and p2, and it's returning the multiplication of these two. So every time I need the multiplication of two numbers, I can just call this function passing these parameters, and I will get the result depending on the parameters I pass in. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, the result is 12. If I change the parameters, I get a different response. What do you think is going to happen if I add another parameter here?
Mm.
It's gonna get an error because you only have two parameters.
Exactly. Uh, well, no. Uh,
Will it override?
the, the function is only taking the first two parameters. When you
Okay.
define the function, you said, okay, just only take the first two parameters and do this with these two parameters. So we can keep adding more and more.
And it'll do nothing.
Multiply them.
Yeah, exactly. Would say the same. So now if I want to call this function again, mm, mm, uh, so I don't need to repeat this code. Okay, first, this function is pretty simple. So, and maybe right now it doesn't make sense. I can come and say, okay, I can do this, okay, and I will get the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but if this function get more complex, then a function makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to encapsulate those instructions in this function, and then I just need to call it in this way. Okay, so and those are functions. Okay, and now, okay, let me see the plan. We talk about functions, variables, parameters, arrays, loops, conditional statements, objects. Okay, it's pretty basic what we have talked. I mean, we can dive a little bit more only with these topics, but because we don't have too much time, I think that is okay. Are you do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Now objects. Have you ever tried objects and classes?
I'm just barely starting to do that in another one of my classes.
Okay. I have these images. Can you see my screen?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, so we have objects and we have classes, and then we have object-oriented programming. And this is coming from object-oriented programming. Basically, a class is something is an object is something that can represent something in the real world, like a car, like a dog, like a person, like an animal. Uh-huh. In JavaScript, objects have properties. That is another name for variables, and they have also methods. That is another name for functions. So we already covered what is a variable, a property, and what is a method. Okay, and classes. Uh, they are pretty similar. Well, they are related because classes are the templates for objects, and objects are instances of classes. So just think about classes as the recipes and objects as the actual meal. Okay, so if you have a car, maybe you have the blueprints for a car, that is the class, and the one that you have in your garage is the object. Okay, and you have different properties. You have a plate, you have a color, you have the model. Okay, and you have methods. You can start the engine, you can move forward, move backward, run uh, into a wall, stop the engine. Okay, so that's
Right.
the idea with classes.
Okay.
uh, so classes, if you instantiate a class, you get an object. Uh-huh. And if you want the template of an object, that is a class. Okay,
Okay.
here I have another image. So this could be a class, the cookie cutter, because this is the template. So you have uh, la masa para las galletas.
So,
uh, and you have this cookie cutter, and that is the class, and the cookies are the objects. Okay. And do you have any questions about the difference between objects and classes?
no.
So with objects, we have a new a new set of features that we can use, because as I mentioned before, an object is a representation of something in the real world. We can represent a card with an object, just like we have in this image, and you can represent whatever you want. So going back to our tutorial, here you have a car. Okay, and these are the properties. Properties are variables and methods are functions. And how do you create an object? Do you recognize this?
Yes. The array.
That one.
Exactly. That
Associated array.
exactly. So if you already know how to uh, handle associative arrays, you already know how to create objects. So the properties of this object is type, model, and color. Okay. Okay. But now let's go back to these images. So you have this cookie. With this cookie, could you replicate this other cookie? Could you replicate this cookie and have another cookie?
I think so.
Yeah, well, maybe if you have a knife and you put it on top of uh, yeah, you can cut it and you can have another cookie. But ideally, if you use the cookie cutter, it's easy to replicate cookie and have another one. Okay, because you have the template. With this object, we create one instance, and we have an object, but we don't have any way to replicate this. Okay, so how can we replicate this? So we need to have a way to to replicate these objects. Okay, but before jumping into that, so what are the methods for this object? Could, can you see any method for this car?
No,
No, there is only properties.
there's
We
only
don't have
properties. Yeah.
any method. So let's go back here. This is another object. We have first name, we have last name, we have ID, and then we have another thing that is a function, and it's returning something. Okay, and this function, how many parameters is taking this function?
3.
It, I think all of them. But doesn't
No.
have any parameter right there.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, exactly. It's taking 0 parameters. Okay, but it's returning something, and you can see this word. This is a keyword. Okay. So what does that? What this means is we are using this object, what is inside the object, and I can have access to this variable, to this property that is first name, and create a new string appending a space and then appending last name. Okay, so what happened if we remove this?
Mm. It won't know which parameters to use. Oh, he's gone again.
It's again.
Francisco, are you back? Looks like he's not back yet.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry.
That's okay. I have to go here in a little bit, but
Okay, me too. Let's wrap it up. Okay, I can share. I cannot share my screen again, but I think we have covered too much. So we get an error because we don't know what last name is. We are getting an error and it's displaying nothing. So we need this, and this refer to any property that is inside the object. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So
Specifies what you're getting.
okay, and let me try to. Okay. I can share my screen again. So maybe later we can continue with this, but in the example that I was showing, there is no way to replicate this object, and we have the same case. The way that we can replicate this is having a function to create the object. A function could be the template for our class, and the thing that this function is going to return is an object, is an instance of this class. So every time I need an object of this kind, I can call this function and I can replicate this class. That is how this works. Okay. Okay, and I think we can stop here and continue the next the next week.
Okay.
Pretty much we have covered the week one. We
Yeah.
have covered some topics of week two. Next time we can. I think if I send links to these tutorials, everyone can study on their own,
Mhm.
and we can send emails if we have any question.
The Google Hangouts group is awesome too. Like if I put it on my phone and it
Mhm.
just basically sends me like as if I were getting a text and it
Okay.
helps.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so I think at this point we can stop the recording and we can
Okay.
continue next week.
All right. Thank you, Francisco.
You're welcome. So the next week, who is taking over?
Mhm.
Marvin?
Yes, it'll be my
Okay.
turn.
Okay, so if you want, you can continue uh, with the topic that we were supposed to study today, JSON parse and stringify.
Okay.
Okay, and XML HTTP request. So,
Okay.
but everyone on their own, we need to study these topics just to make it easy and have more discussion.
And
Okay.
it'll be faster too.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Okay,
All right.
Sounds good.
okay. So let's stop the recording.
All right.